And welcome back to the Constitutionals. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. I was rushing through that. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened. Welcome back in. Here we are, episode 375. Is that true? I've so turned around today. I am ready. I'm ready for this day to be over. Oh gosh, I'm almost done with my 100 days of yoga, and it might extend to 365 days. So we will see. It is 374. Okay. Yeah. I was recording late night lately. These are so many. I just have a confluence of thoughts. I was recording late night lately, and I got halfway through the monologue when the mouse. This is a Logitech MX Master 3, and I have the MX Master keyboard. The mouse just decided, as it does on Mac OS, to the side scroll wheel to stop working. So I couldn't jump between the tabs where I keep the media for displaying on the video. If you've never seen Late Night Lately, it's a late night show, and I do a monologue now, and I have media with the monologue so that you could, so that viewers can see everything. And it was just not doing it. So I stopped. And then I restarted just from the beginning of the episode, and it still was not working. I stopped, and then I was like, "What's going on?" And then because it does this all the time. It's so funny. People are like, "Oh, Windows does this. Windows does this," but man, at least I just want things to work. I saw an article on The Verge, I think, where the author was like, this Windows laptop was about to die, and I put Linux on it. It had a whole new life, and I'm truly just butchering it. Hold on, what was it? But here it is. I saved a doomed Windows laptop by embracing Linux. If your laptop is stranded on Windows 10, the solution isn't a new laptop. It's a new operating system. It's written by Stevie Bonifield. But the thing is, there's nothing on sorry, I'm responding to a message. There's I have a Steam Deck, so I have access to Linux. And while you can download things like Firefox or VLC Media Encoder, it is just not applicable, the Linux operating system, to everything. Everybody's got different use cases, which is why, Windows is good for some stuff, like just general gaming, who I served under during Gears of War. And then during Call of Duty, it works for everything, but Gears of War was funnier. And then Mac OS is good for just computing in general. Just like very simple plug and play stuff. Not every piece of technology can fail you, though. Yesterday when I was cycling, oh boy, I knew this was going to happen. I have a second gen iPad Pro. I think it's second gen. I have a second gen iPad Pro, and it's still plenty fast. Not compared to these newer ones, but it's still plenty fast. So I'm just not upgrading just yet. And also, I have to. I have Google Fi on the S25 Ultra over here, but the iPad, how I was able to buy it was through Verizon when they had cheap tablet-only plans for like $15 a month. So I was able to purchase it, and then I paid it off, and so I just kept it. But now their cheapest plan is like $33 a month. It's insane. It's so God, it's so frustrating. So if I upgraded, I'd be paying like $70. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, but anyway, yesterday when I was cycling, I knew this was going to happen. I got home from the gym, and what I do is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Tuesdays leg day, Thursdays boxing, and like basically tough cardio like sled and boxing sled, box jumps, battle ropes. What else do I do? Ladder, agility ladder, and some combination of, like plyo stuff and sandbags and med balls. Anyway, and resistance band, jumping or whatever. But which is all unnecessary information. And then I cycle immediately after, which is, yes, I'm tired all the time. People, yes, it's too much. I get it. I understand. Garmin tells me the exact same thing. I know. But anyway, I have to tend to restart the iPad because at this point in its life cycle, it is just even though it's a cellular iPad, it'll just like stop working on Wi-Fi. And this is the third one I've had. When I first got it, I had to go back to the Apple Store twice and return it and get a new one because the Wi-Fi module just was not working, or the cellular module was not working. And I do pay for Apple Care, but the only Apple Store anywhere near here is in Buckhead on Linux, and I'm just not going up there. Also, my car is having engine trouble, so I can't really go anywhere except for the store. So I tend to restart it if I know I'm going to do a longer ride. And it only stops working truly when I'm on the bike. When I have the Garmin HRM 600 paired to it, plus, and it actually did this before I got the heart rate monitor. But when I have like the bike paired to it, and it's running Wahoo, and it's running the Peloton app, and it's running, then it's connected to the heart rate monitor. And then it's also airplaying the audio to the Sonos speaker over there. It just stops working, and it happens occasionally, but it happens enough to where I have to prepare myself before I start the ride, just restarting the iPad, and that typically keeps me in the safe zone. But I was doing a 60-minute ride with Christian Van Velde yesterday, who is by all means the second best Peloton instructor there. It goes Matt Wilpers, Christian Van Velde, Dennis Morton, DT Hannah, Alex. Not like in no particular order. After Dennis, it goes. Those are the ones I Hannah Corbin. Those are the ones I typically. Alex, the rower. What's his name? Alex Karvosky. Those are the ones I typically do, and Anna Greenberg. And then RIP to Kristen and Ross, my other two yoga people. Those are the people I tend to do because everybody else is a little mental healthy. Is too mental healthy for me. Anyway, and I was 40. I had 13 minutes left, right? I think. So I was 47 minutes in, and it just stopped. And I know it stops when the screen goes. Well, not the screen. When Peloton goes black. And then every single time, I stop the bike, I stop the watch, I stop Wahoo, and then I throw it on cellular, for my 1 gig. I throw it on cellular. That does not work, and it just spins and spins and spins. And then by that time, just the data from Wahoo is everything I can get, because that's where the heart rate monitor is going to Wahoo, and it was also going to Peloton, but it was going to Wahoo. And so I just have to essentially finish the ride, make sure it saves to Wahoo itself, restart the iPad. But to finish the ride, I finished the ride on like my phone. So I'll get my phone, finish the ride, make sure Wahoo has saved it, restart the iPad, make sure Wahoo uploads it to Strava, and then more often than not, almost all of the data is there, like the cadence and the heart rate and the power, which are the important ones. It's just so frustrating. And then sometimes, technology fails us all the time. Whenever I pair the heart rate monitor to the rower over there, I have to do it in a very specific order, or else the heart rate will be all over the place. It has to be heart rate monitor, Bluetooth to the iPad, Amp Plus to the PM5 monitor, which is also broadcasting Bluetooth to my phone. So and then I bought a phone holder for the top of the PM5 monitor, and then the official Concept 2 rower device holder for the arm. So I had to replace the arm on the rower. It was under $50 to do both of those things together. And now I'm just like looking at a tower of screens. It goes phone, PM5 monitor, iPad, and I have to load it up in a very specific order. It goes, it doesn't matter. I have to load up in a very specific order. I'll tell you. PM5 to phone, heart rate monitor. Make sure that the heart rate monitor is seen in amp plus, because if it's via Bluetooth, then the heart rate will go over the place. And I can't connect the watch because the watch, for some reason, by itself, when it knows the heart rate monitor is connected, will be erratic too. And that's more of a Garmin thing. It's just so frustrating. All of this is so frustrating. All this data for nothing. For me to go, oh, look at my step loss count on this run. I don't even know what step loss is. But you know what? I bought the watch. I bought the heart rate monitor. I have to see this. Oh, step loss. Oh, my cadence dropped. This week was pretty good for running off the treadmill because I take Maverick for runs before dinner, and he just wants to sprint the entire time. And first he doesn't want to do it. Then he wants to sprint. Then he doesn't want to do it if he knows you're not sprinting. And then we come home. I take a shirtless selfie with him, and we put up on Strava. That's our lives, man. Okay, let's get into the news so I can do some yoga. Because remember, I'm still in the middle of this. This comes from the New York Times. Reality TV confronts a harsh reality, written by my friend John Coblin. There's several years ago, actually, John Landgraf, who was the president of FX, the FX family networks on Disney, FX family of networks on Disney, owned by Disney, said that we were always in the golden age of television because there were 700 new shows a year, 800 new shows a year, 900 new shows a year. And then we got up to like 960 or 30, something like that. And then the bubble burst. But there were so many new shows. And when I say 700, 800, 900, I mean new shows, period. Not like new seasons, new shows. And a lot of those shows were reality shows. Yes, everybody was working at a time. Oh, it was great. Yes, there was a lot of great scripted shows, dramas and comedies that either had a couple episodes or one season, or they're still running to this day. But reality shows made up a lot of that number. And we saw these shows basically become a boom. Now, scripted shows cost a lot of money. There's no way around it. Single camera shows, comedies are more expensive than multicams. Dramas are expensive because they're hour-long shows. You have to go on location, all this stuff. So shows are expensive. But when it comes to reality shows, the reason why there have been so many reality shows, and there still are a decent number of reality shows, which we'll get to in a second. I hate it when people do that, when things do that. When there's a decent number of reality shows, is because they're cheap. You can just send out a crew to follow the thing, tell a story, edit it, and post, blah, blah, blah. But now we're seeing a bit of a downturn to that. As Coblin writes, HGTV has been on a cancellation spree with Christina on the Coast and Bargain Block. MTV announced this month that Jersey Shore Family Vacation, which was basically a reboot of that Jersey Shore show, was ending after its 9th season. And then they also said they're ending the Catfish, the TV show, after nearly 300 episodes. This is, it's just insane to see that, according to Lumiate, a research group, reality shows, unscripted shows with season premieres have fell 15% last year to 794. And again, the industry itself is in a bit of a recession, and hopefully we'll see that change. You know, even I've changed my tune. I mentioned this recently that I don't even care if it's a show or a genre or a movie or whatever. If it's a Star Wars, if it's a Marvel, I don't care anymore. People need to work. Like, let's make things. I hope Mandalorian and Grogu is good enough so that they can continue making Star Wars so that people can continue working. I'm serious. I don't care at this point. People need to work. Now, there's obviously successes like The Traitors, which is having its more spinoffs than I can even count, and Love Island USA. Then there's also the Housewives franchise and Below Deck and Survivors, obviously in its 50th season. But we are seeing these reality shows kind of take a downturn. The Bachelorette, for instance, is not going to be airing its season, and I don't think it's going to air, period. And also, I got an email that said that the husband, is that his name? Oh, I've been invited to a live DJ ride with Peloton. Interesting. I'm not going to get to New York. Well, I was just like, okay, time to go. What is the name of the boy who was... Oh, Jesus Christ. What's the name of that guy? Okay. Mormon Wives star Dakota Mortensen to be cut from Vanderpump Villa crossover amid domestic violence investigation. And I will not click through to this email, but this is from the Wrap. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives star essentially is just going to be cut out of that show because of his domestic problems with Taylor Frankie Paul, who again can throw chairs at me all she wants. I'm kidding. In interviews, this Coblin continues, executives attributed the steep drop-off in total series to 3 issues: the rapid decline of cable, the continued momentum of YouTube and other digital outlets, and the industry's nearly endless consolidation. I do think that when YouTube is a big part of it, and other digital places like TikTok and the same, and even comparing to adding in the rapid decline of cable, there's so many reality shows that live on Netflix. You know, there's Owning Manhattan, there's Love on the Spectrum, there's all this other stuff. But the problem is, comparing those to what's on cable, is that they are more or less very niche. Love on the Spectrum is so niche. Love is Blind is very niche. Owning Manhattan is something that I'm guessing that, in terms of why I watched the first season, and I'll get to the second season at some point, but in terms of why I watched the first season, it's because I like Ryan Searhunt, but B, I also used to watch New York tours of apartments, and I thought that stuff was fascinating, and we don't have that anymore because one of the YouTubers I watched, I was never subscribed to, but every couple of months I would search on YouTube for his name. He went crazy and he tried to kill somebody, I think, and he went full on insane. Connor. YouTube Connor. God, what is his name? Apartment guy. All right, Connor. I don't know his name. I truly don't know his name. Eric Conover. So I was very close. And then the other guy I watched, Cash. Oh God, did I do this? YouTube Cash Apartment tour. Cash Jordan. He went straight up MAGA and AI, and he uses AI in his videos to tell stories about immigrants and all that stuff when his wife is in fact an immigrant and his mixed race children, which is wild to do. Anyway, so we have that, and then there's a guy on TikTok, I think, or I don't know. I see it on YouTube Shorts, where he goes around and I don't know if these videos are fake or not, but he'll be like, "How much do you pay for rent in New York? Where do you live? Can I come to your house?" And then they'll show him a tour. I assume it's fake. And then in terms of the industry's nearly endless consolidation, that's a big part of it. HGTV in 2019 had as many as 78 original unscripted series. That number fell to 35 last year, according to Illuminate. Food Network used to make about 70 reality shows a year. That figure has been halved. The output for networks like Lifetime, E, MTV, and Oxygen has also crashed. And again, I think there's room for these shows. I was watching clips of a show I've never seen before, Deadliest Catch. I was watching clips of that show, and a couple of months ago, I think, maybe in like January or December. But it was. I thought it was very cool, and then then you have the Housewives that people love. Speaking of Peloton, there was a Peloton walk and talk series with Matty Majacomo, and he had the Real Housewives of Long Island, I think, on that one. I was going to take that class this morning, and I went, I don't know those people. I have no interest. I don't give a shit. I went, whoa, Real Housewives, and then I watched. They have if you have the Peloton app, and you pull up a class, more often than not they'll play like a snippet from the middle of the class, no sound. And I was watching him talk to one of the housewives as they were on treadmills, and I went, this isn't for me. I have a lot to say about Peloton, but this is not that type of show. YouTube's growing dominance in the streaming seems to be offering a gravitational pull for some talent. The producers of the Netflix food and travel series Somebody Feed Phil, starring the television producer and now restaurant owner Phil Rosenthal, announced this month that the show is going to move to YouTube next year. I don't know what's going to happen. I assume the show will stay. The old episodes of Somebody Feed Phil will still be on Netflix. And currently, you can go on PBS's YouTube to see the first 6 episodes of the original version of the show that was called Phil Rosenthal Loves Food. What was it called? I don't know. Oh, God. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not going to look it up. But you can go see the first 6 episodes of that show because it was originally on PBS before it moved to Netflix for 8 seasons. But I assume that they're going to take the old episodes and chop them up and put them on the YouTube channel, or maybe put the full episodes on there. What's going to happen to reality TV when Paramount and Warner Brothers merge? What happens when Disney? Will they stop the Secret Wives of Mormon Lives? Is that what it's called? Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? MasterChef's going to continue to be made, but now MasterChef, I think, is made in Australia. I think the last 2 seasons have been in Australia as opposed to Los Angeles because it's just cheaper to do it over there. Naked and Afraid. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just so many shows. I think people should be paid, but even if it's for platforms, I don't know. All right, let's move on. This comes from ESPN. Max Verstappen versus F1's new rules. Every complaint this season and our verdict. I love the picture that they use. This is written by Nate Saunders. I love the picture that they use. He's covering his ears. If you are a fan of F1, there's been a change this season where the engines are now like hybrid engines, and you can use they have to use electric. They don't have to, but you can use electric boosts, and it keeps basically the races pretty tight. And people seem to like it. Some racers don't, and some people say it ruins the sport. Whereas they're becoming reliant on these electrical boosts to the engines as opposed to pure racing. In the same way that I think people don't like the ABS system in baseball. I've seen a lot of people talk about how it's good. And then there's that one umpire that people just seem to hate because he's gotten every call wrong. When he's been called out by the ABS system when players tap their helmets. I think it's a great system if it speeds up the game of baseball. And it works well for tennis, and you still have the chair umpires there. So why not just have this extra thing? And you can only do it 3 times. I watched a video explanation or a video essay on how, was it the San Diego Diamondbacks, but one team was using how they were using the ABS system, and it was immediately ruled illegal for them to do it. But they would, in their dugout, put up a green card for their players to see, and then like if the coach is like, you can use the ABS system if you think that that ball was in the strike zone or a ball or whatever, and it was so fascinating to see how they broke the system immediately. And then and I guess the baseball was like, no, you can't do that. You can't tell them that it's okay for them. They have to see it themselves. Anyway, Max Verstappen said that it's not fun right now to be the driver, and as a driver, the feeling is not very Formula One like. It feels a bit more like Formula E on steroids. Verstappen, who had voiced concerns about F1's new regulations long before they rolled out this year, wasted no time, blah, blah, blah. But by this point, the drivers had experienced them for 3 days on F1's private shakedown. This is in February, event in Barcelona, and then again at the desert circuit. It was the latter that the Red Bull driver launched his first scathing attack and gave the first memorable soundbite about the new generation of cars. I don't watch Formula E, but the hybrid engines do keep things interesting. And this is, I'm not somebody who's seen a lot of F1 races, but I have seen, as of before this season, prior season, because now it's on Apple TV and baby, I'm going to watch it. But prior to the season, I probably watched half of last season, so I don't expertly know or have a big say in this, but I do think that anything that can help make races a little bit closer can make this much more interesting. As is written here, this has to become the same with Formula One since the start of the year 2, talking about how all electric series has been defined by the battery power available to its drivers. The narrative of every race centers around that fact. Anyway, TV commenters now having to give lengthy explanations about things like super clipping, megajoules, and battery harvesting just to give the proper context of qualifying sessions. For instance, when cars they can't deploy the electricity in the engine at any point that they want. They have to be within I don't know how close they have to be, but they have to be pretty close to other cars, and in order to deploy the electric boost so that they can speed past them. Verstappen also says that the cars look great, but after the Chinese Grand Prix, he said, it's still terrible. I don't know. If someone likes this, then you really don't know what racing is about. It's not fun at all. It's playing Mario Kart. This is not racing. Look at the racing. You are boosting past, then you run out of battery the next straight. They boost past you again. For me, it's a joke. He thinks, essentially that you should just be able to drive and go, and the best drivers will get rid of what Charles Leclerc called the yo-yo effect. The new phenomenon has given F1 an easy highlight reel package for each of the events so far, as cars swap positions endlessly in duels for position, and Max Verstappen is not impressed. I think this is something. This is definitely a part I disagree with him on, because it's fun to see a close race like this, and again, they don't get it all the time. You have to build up the battery, then you have to deploy it at the right time. It's kind of like, when to tush push in football. You don't tush push on every play, but you can deploy it whenever they don't expect it, whenever the other team doesn't expect it. And then when it becomes a problem, you can go to the league and say, hey, NFL, the Eagles are doing this too much. And as a Cowboys fan, yeah. This shirt is, so the new kitten, she likes to jump up in the closet and climb up the clothes and go to the highest perch in the closet that she can. And I'm thinking that the shirt I'm wearing now, it's a V-neck. It's gotten deeper. She's definitely pulled on some nice sweaters and partially ruined them. I love her. Verstappen also questions, is the new F1 really competitive? He says it's just Antonelli or Russell that is winning, right? It's not really back and forth. They're miles ahead of the field. It's just that Ferrari sometimes has these good starts that they push themselves in front, and then it takes a few laps to sort it all out. Like I said, this has nothing to do with racing. And after watching these last couple of races, I have not seen the Japanese Grand Prix, and I've even avoided, I guess, spoilers. But there's not going to be any races for 2 months, right? Oh my gosh! So I'm just going to go ahead and watch it at some point over the next couple of days. But anyway. He's right. It is Antonelli or Kimi Antonelli and George Russell in the front at all points. That's how it's been. But I did have to sniff. I took this morning. I woke up at typically I wake up at 3:50 so I can start working out before I go to the gym. But this morning I was up at like 2 and just laying in bed and I couldn't breathe because I forgot to take an Allegra that morning. And as soon as I got up this morning, I was like, give me an Allegra. Put it in my mouth. And the people that are winning are going to be happy. They're going to be praising this new thing. Lewis Hamilton was happy. He's like, I like it. This is great. But he was wheel to wheel with Leclerc in the sprint and Grand Prix for China. And he podiumed. Their verdict, the verdict that ESPN said is, I forgot who wrote this. Verstappen is correct about the 3 races. The 2 Grand Prix and a sprint have followed the same pattern, with Ferrari challenging early thanks to their great starts and then fading as Mercedes' superior power management and deployment comes into play. That's something to be said for an unpredictable future of the opening stints of races so far in terms of how the new cars are being perceived. I think this it's just so funny to see this, and Max Verstappen is really interested because he has the option to leave. And he's like, hey, I get to race the Nordschleife. Hope in the coming years I can do Spa, hopefully Le Mans. So I'm combining stuff to find other stuff that I find really fun as well. So I have a lot of distractions at the same time. Positive distractions, I would call it. But at the same time, it's a bit conflicting because I don't really enjoy driving the car, but I do enjoy working with all the people and the team and from the engine department as well. So he's basically hinting at, hey, I have the chance to leave, and I can go and race somewhere else, not in F1, but in a different league. His contract with Red Bull runs until 2028, so he's got to deal with this. Maybe they'll fix things, maybe they won't, but he's letting them know, hey, if this continues, then I'm going to leave the sport and possibly just go drive elsewhere. All right, and finally, this comes from Hollywood Reporter, written by Boris Kitt and James Hibbard. J.J. Abrams scaling down Bad Robot as he moves to New York. Bad Robot used to produce so much, and just like everybody else in the industry, they are experiencing a bit of a downturn, in production. Bad Robot, you might know, produces the Mission Impossible series. They did Star Trek Beyond. They did a couple of Cloverfield movies. For television shows, they did Alias, Lost, and 6 Degrees, and Almost Human, and Westworld, and a lot of great shows. But sometimes these things don't do very well. The show Duster on HBO Max was canceled after 1 season. I don't know what happened to Batman Caped Crusader. That's on Amazon Prime, but we haven't heard anything about the 2nd season. That was a good show. I enjoyed that show. The films, sometimes they don't do very well, and sometimes they only have 1 hit. Since 2019, the last hit they've had since 2019 was Star Wars: The Rise of Walker. then they only produced 3 movies since then. They have more movies coming down the pike, like the 4th Star Trek movie and a John M. Chu and Jill Colton directed Oh, the Places You'll Go. The Constantine sequel, a Cloverfield film, an Elseworlds Superman movie. Oh my gosh. Portal, the video game? Oh my goodness. What? Anyway, but Bad Robot is leaving Los Angeles and is moving to New York. They let people go as of a couple of months ago. The move comes after the company sold its longtime Santa Monica headquarters for $31 million in November and shed employees in recent years. Yeah, that's right. The company was founded in 1999. Of course, it had shows like Alias and Lost and Fringe and Person of Interest and Westworld. I was going to watch Person of Interest, but now I'm watching The Shield. I went from Southland to The Shield. I just said, let me stay in Los Angeles and let me stay with a cop show. It's been a while, however, since Bad Robot had much mainstream success. Apple TV's and David E. Kelly Productions' Presumed Innocent was, fine, and it doesn't do numbers. And again, Dusters was canceled. And then, of course, I said Rise of Skywalker. I did all this reporting myself. Rise of Skywalker was the last major feature film. But there haven't been a lot of deals since then. The company was originally set up at Touchstone Television, but in 2019, riding high after a streak of elevated genre hits, Warner Media won a bidding war for a 5-year overall deal film and TV deal with Bad Robot. That's interesting. Five-year overall deal film and TV deal with Bad Robot that was worth $250 million. In 2024, the deal was extended for another 2 years, but became non-exclusive first look pat. This is just an indication of where the industry is, and if it's hitting even one of the biggest producers in Hollywood, then obviously it's hitting everywhere else, everyone else too. Thinking of like reality TV and seeing what's happening with people like J.J. Abrams or other of networks and studios, it's just, this does not bode well for what's going on. Shrinking the imprint is fine, and maybe at some point they can expand again, but this industry needs to right itself, and there's no way to do so until the larger companies at hand say that they want more from the industry. So it's kind of a catch-22 of sorts. Hopefully things change, but this is just another bad thing to see. All right, I'm done. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. If you want to see a video version of the show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see a video version of the other shows. Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs and Business News podcast. You can also see video versions of the interesting conversations I have with celebrities and celebrity-adjacent people there as well. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at C Plus Comedy on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Hold on, I have to say bye when it crescendos. Okay, bye.